Welcome back to the TT podcast. Now, if you've not listened to part 1 of Dave Hewson's podcast, make sure you head over there now and listen to that before you listen to part 2, which is coming up right now. I'm currently recording this in my house and my daughter's right next to me. What should everybody do? Listen to the podcast. Subscribe.
Subscribe!
There you go. Part 2, Dave Hewson podcast is coming up.
All those titles!
Where does Wavy Davey come from?
Right, yeah.
What is that?
That is actually a really, really dull story, if I'm honest.
Oh, right, okay.
Is that not a reference to Vic Reeves? Wavy Davey.
Not as far as I know.
I mean, that's just me then, and probably 3 other people.
No, it comes from actually we're working down Italian classics on a Saturday morning, and it was back the late 90s, and one of the mechanics, Lee, he's like, oh, everybody should have a nickname, obviously. So he starts calling me Wavy Dave, because Dave Pearce was Wavy Dave at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, doesn't really fit. No, never been to a rave in my life. And then he's like, so he changed it to Gravy Dave. But I don't really like gravy. If it's hot brown liquid, I'm not interested. Tea, coffee, hot chocolate, gravy, I'm out. I'm like, if it's in a pie, that's fine. But I don't see why you'd pour something over your dinner that's going to make it all taste the same. And I don't really need all my dinner soggy. So gravy, I'm out.
All right.
So I'm off on one.
You've just killed this audience. That's going to be a civil war.
Hey, you're either right or you're wrong.
Yeah. I thought Northern boys love gravy.
Obviously not that north.
No.
So, so he tries to call me Gravy Dave. I don't like gravy. And so he literally found the next thing that rhymed, and it was Wavy Dave. And I didn't really have an argument for that, so it stuck.
Wait, Wavy Dave or Wavy Davey?
Wavy Dave.
Wavy Dave.
Wavy Dave, sorry, right.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll answer to the other one. But
Gravy Dave. Gravy Dave.
Yeah. It's stuck with me now.
Yeah.
Gravy Dave.
yeah.
I thought there was going to be a more interesting story behind it.
I'll be in pit lane at BSB this weekend. I'll just have somebody shouting gravy at me or something.
Exactly.
Right. In fact, we'll start moving towards your career away from the TT, because I'm sure every single year something major happened that is a talking point within your TT career. But I think that the biggest one is probably when you decided to stop racing.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you listening that don't know, Dave has his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's not quite as successful as mine, but hey, listen.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it's an excellent cure for insomnia it is. It is brilliant for that. And the best thing is, if you make your channel really dull and people fall asleep, then they do actually sit through all the adverts.
They have to.
It's mega, yeah. It's great.
No. In all seriousness, it's a great channel. So if you want some insight into all sorts of stuff when it comes to motorcycling, the one I was watching a couple of days ago was you converting a Aprilia RSVR.
Yes.
Quite a while ago, I think.
Yeah, I've done. Yeah,
It's a
done
bit
few random
hypocritical,
projects.
isn't it?
What?
Well, you've never listened to a podcast in your life, but you want everybody to listen or watch your flipping YouTube channels.
Hey, that's how you get them, people.
That's it.
And he didn't know I hadn't listened to any till I got here.
Good point.
I don't know if anybody does listen to these.
I mean, if I'm honest, I was fully intending to listen to a couple on the way up here to get a feel for it all. And then my van broke, so I'm here on my bike.
Don't worry. It's absolutely fine. I mean, you could have probably picked some pointers up over the past couple of years and probably gone just a little bit faster if you'd have listened to the podcast.
Well, probably, yeah. But I've quit now, so it don't matter.
Anyway, Obsession Engineering is the YouTube channel, so if you want to go and check it out, go and find that, or I'm sure you can just find your name and
It'll
they'll
be on there
find
somewhere,
it.
yeah.
But during TT 2023, you put out a very emotional video about stopping racing. And I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone decide to stop racing, that soon after a TT or after coming off the bike or racing or whatever. So just explain to us, one, the decision behind it, and two, kind of the emotions you went through during that period, because it was it looked pretty rough for you.
Yeah. The oddity with TT is that the last few years I got to the point where I absolutely loved riding around the circuit. If I'm honest, I tended to like practice week more than race week, because you got to go out and there wasn't really any pressure in practice. It's like you wanted to go fast enough to qualify, but you had this basically a brilliant experience where you've got the best pieces of tarmac in the world. Literally every perfect piece of tarmac is in that 38 miles. And we had this privilege of being able to go out and race it, which not many people will ever experience. But trust me, if you ever get the chance, you've got to do it. But I got to the point where I wasn't getting any faster. I was probably leaving a little bit more safety margin. The joys of old age.
Yep.
Not as old as Steve, but
No one is.
Sorry, Steve. That was a call for, wasn't it?
That was experienced, you're saying.
Sorry, yeah, exactly. But I think the dying, like the really competitive bit of me was fading anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's like I loved being involved and I loved riding the course and I enjoyed the races. But the need to go and do it. You see some of the lads on the start line and they're so hungry for it and they're so fired up.
Yeah.
And I was getting to the point where I wanted to ride around and I wanted to do well, but I didn't want to take as much risk.
Yeah.
And then I was out on the Super Twin, and the Super Twin is such a nice bike to ride, a little RS660. And I love that bike. And the nice thing is with it, you can go flat out in so many places.
Yeah.
And I was going through Bishop's Court just before Alpine, and this is last lap of the race. And I'd been dicing with a couple of lads earlier in the race, and I think I'd not got back up to speed that well after the pit stop, so they'd gapped me a little bit.
Is this on the road, mate, or on the clock? You were with them on the road? Or?
Yeah, I was with them on the road, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't do pit boards, I've got no idea. So I'd been dicing with them a little bit, which was really good fun. And then I come through Bishop's Court, and I didn't see a yellow flag, I just saw smoke. Mm-hmm. And I went, right, something's obviously gone wrong, but through Bishop's Court, you're flat in sixth gear on a twin, it's like 130, 140 mile an hour. And I came through the last kink of Bishop's Court before Alpine, and there's bits of bike and stuff all over the road.
Yeah.
And you hit the brakes as hard as you can.
Yeah.
There's still flames coming out of the exhaust pipe of the bike. There's smoke. There's stuff still moving. The marshals running up the road.
Yeah.
And it's horrific.
Yeah.
And I'd ridden through accidents before, but I'd never ridden through one that was that fresh. That was literally still smouldering in the road.
Yeah.
And I was kind of lucky because there was a route through, and I'm literally on the brakes avoiding stuff.
Yeah. And
in my head, it was because it was so fresh. I thought it was one the lads I've been scrapping with.
Right.
And it turns out it wasn't. It was Raul Torres.
Mm-hmm.
But that made it worse because I was thinking, I'm having fun with these lads. I'm riding with these. They look fairly set. And all of a sudden, there's destruction all over the road.
Yeah.
And the problem with where it is, and you could sort of work out straight away what's happened, you know how bad it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have that moment of shock and of, I've just got to get through this and avoid it. And between there and Balaf's half a mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the time I got to Balaf Bridge, I was done.
Yeah.
And I had a moment as I slowed down for Balaf going, do I just pull over?
Yeah.
But then went, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the race.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try and put, and this is racer brain coming in. I'm going to try and put a really good last lap together. Right. Because I want to finish on a high, but I know I'm finishing.
Yeah, yeah.
Really? That was your mindset? Cool. Neck. Yeah.
But if I'm honest, my mind was all over the place at that point. So it's like, it was a clean last lap, but it wasn't that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I literally finished the race, pulled into Parc Fermé. Lads put the bike on a stand. I kept my visor down. I just walked straight out of Parc Fermé. I didn't talk to anyone for an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah.
You knew it was done then and you were...
Yeah. The oddity with it was I was really upset about stopping riding there or about stopping racing.
Yeah.
And obviously you're upset for whoever's had a crash.
Yeah.
But it might seem really blunt, but that's their problem.
Oh,
realistically,
I fully understand that.
Yeah, it's like I can't control what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're in control and they know when they start what can go wrong. But I was really gutted that I had to stop, but I knew it was the right time.
So prior to going through all that and seeing that, you were already...
Yeah, on the cusp, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing that thing where I'm like, I almost couldn't make my mind up.
Yeah.
And then that happened. And if it had happened on the big bike, I'd have probably done the thing where I was like, well, that's the big bike. I'll just ride the twin because it's a bit slower.
Yeah, a bit safer.
But it was the fact that it happened on the twin, which should be so easy to go flat out through there. Mm. And you go, well, either like something's happened for that person to crash there.
Yeah.
And if it's happened to them, what's to stop it happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I sort of went, actually, I don't want to take the chance.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Self-preservation took over.
it did. Yeah,
Natural
yeah.
self-preservation.
Yeah. So at that point, it was like, pack your bags and
Hey, wise decision.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
If you're
yeah.
feeling that, you shouldn't be there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
150%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, you're part of the TT. It's not like you've closed the door on the TT and
No.
you've had enough of it. You're still supporting riders there. You're still going over there,
Yeah.
helping out.
Yeah.
So Martin
Hold
was-
on a minute.
What?
At the beginning of this chat,
Go on.
there was talk of itchy feet.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I get asked
Itchy
that.
feet wants to return. Possibly.
That thing you haven't yet. And I'm guessing you probably have had it at some point. Because it's so addictive, because it's the TT.
Yeah.
What I really want to do is go back and ride the course with it closed as fast as I want to go.
You're going to go and do a track day around the Isle of Man TT.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah.
Can we organise one?
Yeah. I'll
great.
I'll tow you around on the warm-up lap if you want. But yeah, I kind of don't miss racing it,
Yeah.
but I so miss riding around
Love
it.
to ride it, yeah.
The chance to go and do Bray Hill or Bagara or somewhere like that one more time flat stick. That's the addiction. The addiction is to ride it fast.
Yeah.
And I go over and I ride the road stuff now, and I take rapid customers over and we tour it, and you ride it quick, but you can't commit to it properly because you just go, all I want is that one more fix.
Yeah. Where you know nothing's going to be coming the other way. and you
Exactly,
see
See,
yeah.
I
it on to
don't.
the
I
other
don't
side
get
of the
that.
road.
I don't.
No.
Yeah. Luckily.
Yeah.
Because because anywhere, whether I'm on short circuit, I don't stick my nose or
Yeah.
stick. Take any massive risks. You're obviously riding fast.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I'm kind of over that. But I fully understand it because most people are exactly the same. But it's just a case of flipping. I'm very lucky. The switch flicked as soon as I stopped, and I'm not really worried, as such. And I, sometimes you have to control yourself a little bit and say no to things you're offered and so on.
Yeah.
But it's just a case of flipping. And I'm still so lucky to be able to get to parades around the TT, taking newcomers around the Northwest
Yeah.
and so on. So I still get my little fix that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
which is
I reckon
really
I
nice.
could have some plate of leathers made, and I could pretend to be shorter for a bit.
Mate, you don't have to do that. I can sell you some.
He's not getting into that. You'll need two of your suits put into one. So how does it feel going back there? Been back there a couple of years now. Going back there and supporting. So you went with Martin. Martin Morris was racing.
Yeah, well, he did.
Was here this year?
He
just
did.
gone?
Well, he did the Manx the year before I stopped.
Yep.
So his first TT, we were both doing it.
Yeah.
So that was good because when he did the Manx, he did it on my twin. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to point out that he actually went quicker at the Manx as a newcomer on it than I'd gone the first year I raced it, because we had niggles. We had teething problems with it the first year. We niggled, and I basically handed him over a perfect setup, lovely, ideal motorbike.
You ironed out the creases.
Exactly, and I'd done all the homework with him, so he knew exactly where to go.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the credit for giving him an excellent bike.
Take the credit.
To be fair, he did 111 mile an hour as a newcomer at the Manx on a twin after like 5 laps of practice or whatever.
Bloody
It was
hell.
like he was absolutely on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, helped him about a bit at TT last year. This year didn't do so much with him, but I had Julian Trummer on my twin, and I lent Tom Weedham a BM, and
Yep.
so I was still involved, and it was good to still be involved because I was still there, and I still sort of just got that taste of it.
Yep.
And part of me get really irritated when bikes go off down Braille, and you just have that moment where like, I want to go and have a go at that
Yeah.
again.
I've never
Yeah.
experienced that, so I don't feel that, but I could
Yeah.
imagine.
Just that little piece you said a few minutes ago. Still taking people around the TT course. Obviously on open roads on the rapid setup. Just for the listeners, what is rapid?
Right, Rapid is advanced rider coaching.
Oh, okay.
So we do road courses for basically making you a better, safer, more confident road rider. We do a course as well that has a little bit of track, because it's basically a controlled environment where we can teach you your machine control skills that then transfer to the road. And since I've been involved, we've started doing more track stuff. So we now do specific track training, and we run occasional tours. And we're called Rapid for a reason. We're not the IAM. We've got a bit more of a performance element about us. So my idea of touring is let's go touring somewhere where there's no speed limits. So we take, 10 lucky clients at a time, and we go and ride around the Isle of Man for a few days, and we show them all the sights and take them for ice cream and Peel. And
this is away from the Manx or the TT?
Yeah, this
I
is.
get you, mate,
We try and do it when it's a little bit quieter, so a bit less traffic.
I get it 100%, yeah. Perfect.
It's great. It's for people who've always sort of seen the Isle of Man or want to ride their bikes with a bit more freedom.
Yeah, lovely.
We take them and let them have a go.
Hold on then, since you're here then, before we wrap this podcast up, it'd be a shame not to at least get some tips, especially since I'm heading over to Three Sisters to get my license.
Get your ACU license, yeah.
What?
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, if he's lucky.
gonna rain Sunday
surely
as well,
it's
gonna
like your
pee
cycling
down.
proficiency in it. You pass regardless.
If you can say it, yeah.
Yeah.
Cycling proficiency.
Yeah. Regardless.
Do you not like? Surely, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. If not, what? Give me 3 tips. I don't want to stop you from answering by saying I don't want to give these because people will take these and go and use them on the road. But what makes a rider fast? How can a rider improve? Because when I started racing, I had no mentors. I had no idea of how to improve. I just went out and rode.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot of people like that don't ever get the help that they need. So what is
That's
it?
That's easy.
Don't say break less and
Get
less.
some quality
Oh,
instruction.
there you go.
Yeah.
From
get some
Rapid.
coaching from Rapid.
No,
Exactly.
It's easy. Listen to the experts.
Well, while we're
Yeah.
here, give us a taster of what the experts could teach me to get
Right.
faster.
My tips for going for track riding, if you're not used to track riding
Yeah.
and you want to go faster, the first thing is get your reference markers. So find brake markers, find turning markers, find stuff around the circuit you can look at so you know what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
Because there's no point looking 6 foot in front of you, you're just going to get lost.
Right.
So if you're looking at something that's 200 metres away, that's better because it gives you time to process.
Yeah.
So the first thing is find braking markers.
Yeah.
Even if they're early, gives you somewhere to go, right, I need to start slowing down.
Yeah.
The next bit is don't rush. The really, really common thing is when people try and go faster, they try and go into the corners faster,
Yeah.
which generally knackers their line up. They're on the lean angle for far too long. They're losing, like they're trying to gain a 1/10 of a second on the way in the corner and they're losing the second on the way out.
Right.
So slow your entries down, get it nice and controlled, hit the apexes and then get the throttle open because
Yep.
you make your time with the throttle open. So they're the 2 biggest ones is actually know where you're going with your reference markers. Slow it down on the way in so you can get it faster on the way out. And really get your apexes right. Use your track properly. So make sure you're nice and wide on your entry. Get nice and close into your apexes, especially like Three Sisters. It's not a big track, is it?
Tiny.
Yeah. So like you need to use every inch of that.
So here's the thing, though. So I always presumed, sorry to go off on a tangent, podcast people, but it might help you. Like whenever I've done a track day, I've tried to, if I'm using the throttle, if I'm accelerating out of a corner, I allow the bike to go where it needs to go. So if it wants to go all the way to the edge of the circuit, you allow it. But because I'm not fast enough,
I had the same mindset when I raced. If we wanted to go in the gravel trap, I had to go with it.
Yeah. and I've heard he always went in the gravel trap quite a lot.
he was.
Yeah.
But it felt like to get to a point on the track, especially entering a corner, I'd have to move. The
Yeah.
bike wouldn't naturally go there, and I'd hit the edge of the track and then turn in.
The bike should be going where you're telling it to go,
Yeah.
not where it feels like going.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a bike on its own will it'll pretty much go in a straight line. You're trying to make it go around corners, so put the effort into making it to get in the right place before the corner.
yeah,
Put the effort into getting to the apex, and then a lot of the time you won't need all the road on or the track on the way out.
right, yeah.
And there's a little bit of a psychological thing of if you're right on the white line on the way out of a corner everywhere, in your head, can you actually go faster?
True.
That's an old Keith Code thing of if you exit and you've got 3 foot of track spare, you know that you can go faster
Good
because
shout.
you've got spare.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, use more track on the way in, and you'll end up using less on the way out.
Don't do that on the way home tonight, though, will you?
No,
Yeah.
not in the car. Not in the car. All right. Again, one more quick conversation. We're in BSB now, and
Yeah.
we're helping Franco Bourne.
Yeah.
How is all that set up? How do you enjoy getting on that? Because Franco has been progressing nicely throughout
Yes.
this past year.
Yeah, the whole BSB thing was a bit of a fluke, really.
Yeah.
The old job I used to do was getting, hit and miss with availability and stuff. And then when COVID hit, I was like, I'm not sitting in a hotel room waiting to go and fix a turbine for 2 days or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I set up a little workshop in Lincoln, and the True Love boys are local to me. So they needed a mechanic. So I went and worked with Matt True Love for a year, and I learned a lot. I mean, we didn't go very fast, but I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And then for the next year, they had mechanics, and I went to see Boasty one night. I went flat tracking with Pete Boast at Champions Flat Track School. Nice little plug for him. And I said, if anybody needs a mechanic next year, let me know. And he was helping Franco.
Right.
He was like, right, come and help us then.
Yep.
So I started working with them. We won our first race, Stock 600. Won the first one at Silverstone. Won a couple more during the year. Second in the championship. Then with Pete and team boss Matt at Marvel HCL, we went, well, we'll go super stock then.
Yep. Standard progression.
Yeah, we can win at Stock 600, let's get a Stock 1000. And I'm thinking, if we score points, we're doing pretty well. And he went and won at the first round. We went, right, he's pretty good at this. We're obviously doing something right as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, by the end of the year, we were doing Superbike with him, doing the pathway thing after he'd been on the factory Honda for a few rounds. Mm-hmm. Team boss decided, well, we can, as a team, we don't know really what we're doing yet, but we'll work it out and we'll learn. But let's go and do Superbike.
Brilliant.
So the next thing you know, we've got a full-blown Fireblade Superbike,
And a guy that knows how to ride it.
yes, yeah. And as a team, the first half year especially, we learned so much by making so many things wrong. We probably had the worst handling Fireblade on the grid for a couple of rounds. But we're doing that. We found out what didn't work, which is as much of the battle as finding out what does work. And then it's character building. And then now we're in a position now where we can fight for points and get towards the top 10, and it's stepping forward. But it's a lot of work. Superbike is. It's pretty stressful a lot of the time. But the thing I love about it is that you've got to make a decision there and then.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm doing like suspension setup or an electronics change or whatever, you've got to decide what you're going to do now.
Yep.
And the proof of whether it worked or not is going to be in 2 minutes. And there's not many jobs where you're going to send somebody out on a motorbike that you've changed something on and go, right, tell me if that's better or not. I mean, if it is, we might be in Superpole, and if it's not, you might be in the gravel trap. So, and it's like, right, let's go and try it. And I love I don't like the stress of it, but I love the pressure of it, and I love the fact that it's quite intense because you're right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to go to war, but I'd imagine it's like
Especially,
charging into battle almost, isn't it?
especially when it pays off, or especially when,
Yeah.
like you say, you've got a rider on it and you can have good results, and
Yeah.
you can see the fruits of your labour kind of coming to bear.
Yeah. I mean, when I rode at Superstock or whatever, I was never going to win at that level.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I can win at that level. We're just not riding the bike. And it's like, don't go wrong, it's not quite as good, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
It gives you a fix.
Oh, it does,
Yeah,
yeah.
bang on.
Yeah.
I get my fix from just walking around with Steve Plater.
Get in.
I've almost got a TT
Yeah.
victory.
Yeah.
Hanging around with him for so long.
Does he let you touch his trophy?
He does. What a time to wrap up.
Time
Steve,
out. Time out.
Steve, quick fire questions, go.
He's good at polishing my trophy.
Yeah.
Right. 10 quick fire questions.
Go on.
Just one or the other. No excuses, no explanations. Lager or real ale?
Lager.
Italian cuisine or kebab and chili sauce?
Italian.
Ooh, treads or slicks?
Slicks.
Super stock or super sport?
Super stock.
Pineapple or never pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple.
I'm
Come on.
good lad. I'm staring you in the eye then.
Yeah.
Mass start or time trial?
Mass start. Love a first corner.
John McGuinness or Joey Dunlop?
Joey Dunlop.
Grandstand to Ballacrane or bungalow to Cronknamona?
Grandstand to Ballacrane.
Oh, that surprises me. Carbs or fuel injection?
Fuel injection.
Last one, TT Pillion ride with Michael Dunlop or Guy Martin?
Old Michael.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me, actually.
Job done. Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you very much, mate.
It's been a blast.
Tell everyone about your YouTube channel one more time.
Obsession Engineering, check it out. We mess around with motorbikes. It's cool.
Thank
Good
you,
luck,
mate.
Good luck rest of the season, mate.
Cheers, Steve. Cheers, Chris.
Right, Dave Hewson, he's gone off on his... what bike was he on? He came in a Aprilia Tuono he's got on the road. He was saying, yeah. Interesting podcast, that. Do you know
Interesting character.
Yeah, I love listening to people who have got an engineering background who enjoy the mechanical side of the racing world as well.
Yeah, funny how he stopped as well. How
Yeah.
quickly the switch flicked to being negative, to racing in general. And it does sound like he gets itchy feet a little bit to get back to a certain degree, but I don't think he'll come back to the TT. I really don't. But
No.
great to listen to. And obviously, what a character. And Mexico, that sounds a bit dangerous to me.
Do you fancy it?
No.
What about a new Netflix series? Chris and Steve go to Mexico. Imagine that.
Chris goes pillion in Mexico.
Riding bikes.
Riding bikes.
Riding bikes. Let's do it, guys. If you're listening to this TT podcast, make sure you send a message to Netflix and get me in. I think it'd be better than the Grand Tour. It'd be better than Top Gear.
You're selling it well.
Yeah, there you go. If you've enjoyed this podcast, make sure you hit that like button or that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening to it or watching it. Leave us comments if you're watching it on YouTube. Leave us a review if you're watching it or listening to it on iTunes. And guess what we've got coming up next week, Steve?
What?
This.
So I rattled up somebody's fence and ended up in Noble's Hospital. The old Noble's Hospital as well, because I am that old. Yeah. And my mum was... It was
That's right, 'cause
awful
you
for my
started
mum.
racing before Michael Rudd, didn't you? Is that right?
I'm not sure I want to do this podcast for you two.
Stop.
Painful
being-
already.
Stop being mean. That's exciting, isn't it, Steve? Hey? You looking forward to that?
Can't wait.
Me neither. We haven't. Listen, guys, we have no idea what podcast is coming out in what order. We have no idea. But that podcast did sound very interesting. Now, if you want all the latest news and features, where do the people need to go, Steve?
At TT Official.
No, my God, you had one job. If you want your latest news,
Tom, I'm
and
looking at you for help.
if you want your latest news and features and fix of TT goodness, head over to iomttraces.com. That's the website. But if you want to check us out on socials, where we have some great content, whether that be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, it is at TT Races Official. Isn't it, Steve?
Correct.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot of hand signals today.
I'm like, who was the guy from the horse racing? Brian McCrurick. Is that what was his name? 5-1 on Maria Costello.
Oh, I
at the
do know
next
you
TT.
mean. I do know. Yeah.
Well,
no,
who was
yeah.
it?
Don't know.
Anyway, people will know. People in the 80s, everyone else will be. I have no idea what we're talking about. Until next time, Steve Plater. See you later, mate.
Good luck on Sunday with your ACU license.
I mean, by the time this comes out, I'll have got it.
Get out
I'll be heading to MotoGP as we speak. In a bit.
to watch.